Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. The New Zealander Joseph Parker has made a major leap up the WBO rankings, while Tyrone Spong, who's set to face Alexander Usyk, tumbles a couple of places, and Oscar Rivas is gone altogether. So we'll start at the top here. So Alexander Usyk remaining at number 1. He's the WBO mandatory challenger. And as I mentioned, he's going to be facing Tyrone Spong. That fight's coming up in a couple of weeks on October the 12th. It's going to be interesting. Usyk's heavyweight debut. How will he go? Can Tyrone Spong spring an upset, land something of note? Or will Alexander Usyk use his ring craft, the movement, and really outclass, be too slick for Spong? And I'll do another video on that very topic, because a number of people coming to the channel saying that Spong really is going to upset the apple cart here. And I'm not so sure about that, but I'll discuss that elsewhere in another video. At number 2, and remaining at number 2, is Tyson Fury, who just defeated Otto Wallen recently on September the 14th. Number 3 remains Anthony Joshua. He is going to be facing Andy Ruiz Jr. in the rematch, the most anticipated rematch of 2019 in the heavyweight division. That is going to be on December 7th in Saudi Arabia. I'm going to be doing a 10 things to watch for preview in the next couple of weeks, so watch out for that one. Joseph Parker at number 4. He is the big mover and shaker in these rankings. He is at 4th spot. Previously, he was at 11th last month, so he vaults up 7 places, and really you have to ask, well, how and why? His last fight was in June. That was against Alex Leopai. The previous fight to that was at the end of 2018, and that was not against a top fighter either, so it's hard to know what's behind this really quite meteoric rise in the rankings off the back of limited activity. It's a little bit of a head scratcher, maybe promotional factors. Eddie Hearn, his new promoter, has been pushing him, and some wheeling and dealing behind the scenes, who knows, but 7 places up the rankings this month. Adam Kovnatsky, he remains at number 5. Number 6, Tyrone Spong, who you can see here on screen. It actually lists him as being from New Zealand, but I can inform you he is certainly not from New Zealand. He's from Suriname. But Spong, he had been at number 4, the spot Joseph Parker now occupies. And I thought, actually, it's a little bit strange that they've sort of bumped him down a couple of places, because he is obviously facing the WBO mandatory Alexander Usyk in just a couple of weeks on October the 12th. So they've actually bumped him down a couple of spots, which generally it would go the other way. You know, you'd expect a guy like that who's going to be facing the number 1, they slowly creep up, you know, in the sort of a few weeks or month before the fight, but not in this case. He drops a couple of places to number 6. And at number 7, we have Junior Fa, who is actually from New Zealand, as it denotes. He holds the Oriental title. It remains to be seen, what are they going to do with Junior Fa, because obviously hasn't been very active this year. They had been talking about a couple of fights. This was Fa himself when I talked to him, you know, several months ago, that they were looking to be active, have 3 or 4 fights. He was talking about fighting in August or September, but it hasn't come to pass. Will he end up being an opponent for the likes of a Daniel Dubois or someone else within this ranking? Will they actually order him into an eliminator, maybe for the back end of 2019? It's hard to say, but Fa hasn't nearly been as active as we might have thought he'd be. At number 8 is Luis Ortiz, who's down 1 spot this month. Daniel Dubois, he is also down 1 spot at 9th. Michael Hunter, he's at 10. He's actually up a couple of places. That'll be on the back of his win against Sergey Kuzmin recently. Yevgeny Romanov, he's at 11th, so he's down 1 place. Carlos Takam is up 1 spot to 12. He's recently just signed on for a co-promotional arrangement with his promoter Starboxing with ESPN and Top Rank, so he will have a fight there. They're saying, and this was in the official press release, early 2020 on the ESPN platform. At number 13, Tom Schwartz. You just can't get rid of him from the rankings. He's been constantly ranked within the WBO for about 3 straight years now. And a new entrant to the rankings this month, he holds the NABO title, is Frank Sanchez Faure, the Cuban. And at 15, Agit Kabayel, he's taken a big tumble. He was number 9 last month. He's now number 15, so he drops 6 places. Presumably, that is on the back of a lack of activity. He hasn't been fighting. That's his problem. Been very inactive the past couple of years since he won against Derek Chisora. Only fought a couple of times since then. He has now sort of signed on with ESPN and Top Rank on a co-promotional deal with SES Boxing, so we'll have to see what they look to do with him. It's the same with Carlos Takam. They're talking about maybe a fight for early 2020, possibly late 2019, but at this rate, maybe it will be 2020. And another thing to note, Oscar Rivas, he had been at number 15 last month. He drops out altogether. And when you contrast him, because I did a video on the WBC rankings, the update just a week or two ago, he actually went up several places in the WBC rankings, but here in the WBO, he is gone altogether. But what do you make of the rankings? Joseph Parker up 7 places to number 4. Tyrone Spong, who's going to be facing the WBO mandatory, drops a couple of places to number 6. And Agit Kabayel drops 6 places as well. Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.